It is late. The house is quiet. You finally got exactly what you wanted. The relationship is stable. The bank account is fine. The weekend is yours. There is no crisis to solve, no fire to put out, no enemy at the gates. Peace has finally arrived. But as you sit there in the silence, a physical anxiety starts to build in your chest. The quiet feels wrong. The safety feels dangerous. And a whisper begins in the back of your mind. Burn it down. And you do. You send a text you know you shouldn't send. You start an argument over a tone of voice, a misplaced word, a ghost from the past. You ignore the one deadline that could actually move your life forward. You walk straight back to the poison you swore you would never touch again. You take the peace you worked so hard to build, and you smash it. And the terrifying part is not the destruction. The terrifying part is the relief you feel right after you do it. For a split second, the anxiety stops. The chaos returns, and suddenly you know exactly what to do. You are back in familiar territory. You are not confused. You know exactly what you are doing while you are doing it. You watch your own hands light the match. You watch the bridges burn. You are both the victim and the executioner. And the next morning, you wake up in the ashes. Exhausted, disgusted, asking the same question you have asked 1,000 times. Why do I keep doing this? Why, when the path is finally clear, do I steer the car straight into the wall? Imagine your mind is a fortress. You have spent years building it. You laid the stone. You reinforced the iron gates. You secured the perimeter against the storms of the outside world. But you forgot one detail. There is an arsonist living in your own basement. He has always been there, and every time you build something beautiful, he waits until you are asleep, and he sets it on fire. You think you have a discipline problem. You think you have a time management problem. You tell yourself you just need to focus more, try harder, buy another planner, read another book on habits. You are lying to yourself. Discipline cannot cure a disease it does not understand. You do not have a discipline problem. You have a shadow problem. This is core wisdom, and today we are going deeper. If you have ever felt this way, if you know what it is like to fight a brutal war against your own mind and lose, you are in the right place. Subscribe. We build the fortress together. Look closer at your timeline of destruction. There is a pattern. Be honest with yourself. It never happens when you are struggling. When your back is against the wall, you are a warrior. When everything is going wrong, you survive. You fight. You hustle. You climb out of the dark hole with dirt under your fingernails. The sabotage only happens when you reach the top. The moment you feel genuinely safe. The moment someone truly loves you without condition. The moment success is finally resting in the palm of your hand. That is when the arsonist wakes up. This is not a modern curse. It is an ancient human glitch. In the 19th century, the Russian philosopher Fyodor Dostoevsky observed this terrifying truth about human nature. He wrote about a man living underground, observing the absurdities of the human mind in a cold, unforgiving world. Dostoevsky said that if you took a man and gave him everything he ever wanted, if you drowned him in a sea of happiness so that nothing but bubbles of bliss rose to the surface, if you gave him nothing to do but sleep, eat cakes, and busy himself with a continuation of world history, what would he do? He would immediately smash the utopia to pieces, out of sheer ingratitude, out of sheer spite. He would intentionally create chaos, suffering, and destruction. Why? Because humans are not rational creatures seeking peace. We are complicated, fractured beings. Dostoevsky realized that a man will destroy his own paradise just to prove he is not a piano key being played by the universe. He will burn down his own life just to prove he has free will. You do the exact same thing. When life becomes too smooth, you feel like a passenger. So you grab the wheel and jerk it into the ditch. Because at least in the ditch, you are the one driving. But it gets worse. Society has given you a very comfortable lie to explain your behavior, and you have swallowed it whole. Society tells you that you are just afraid of failure. Therapists tell you that you lack self-esteem. Motivational speakers tell you that you just need to visualize victory and overcome your fear of falling short. Stop. Read that script again. It is completely wrong. You are not afraid of failure. You are intimately acquainted with failure. You know exactly what failure tastes like. You know how to survive at the bottom. You have decorated the basement. The darkness is comfortable. When you fail, you know the rules. You get to play the tragic hero. You get to lick your wounds. You get sympathy. You do not fear failure. You fear success. Let that sink in. Success is terrifying. Peace is terrifying. Love is terrifying. Because if you accept the peace, if you accept the love, if you actually accept the success you have been chasing for a decade, you have to become a completely different person. You have to kill the victim inside you. You have to kill the version of you that gets a twisted comfort from struggling. You have to drop the heavy iron armor you have worn for 20 years. And you have to stand naked in the light. And the human ego would rather survive in familiar misery than die in an unfamiliar paradise. So, you sabotage the relationship because being alone is painful, but it is a pain you have mastered. You sabotage the career because staying small is frustrating, but it is a frustration you know exactly how to manage. You drink the poison because you know the antidote. You are not broken. You are not stupid. You are fiercely protecting yourself. You are using destruction as a shield against the terrifying vulnerability of being truly happy. And until you drag this arsonist out of the basement and look him in the eye, he will continue to burn down every single house you build. 2,000 years ago, the ancients understood that the greatest enemy does not arrive on a battlefield. The greatest enemy lives inside the gates. But it took modern psychology to explain exactly how this enemy operates. In the early 20th century, the Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung discovered something terrifying about the human mind. He called it the shadow. The shadow is the basement. It is where you lock away every part of yourself that you deem unacceptable. Your anger, your grief, your desire for rebellion, your shame. You think that by locking these things away, you destroy them. You do not. You just make them invisible. And what is invisible controls you. Jung wrote something that should shake you to your core. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Read that again. It is not bad luck. It is not a curse. It is not the universe testing you. It is your shadow, driving the car while you are asleep at the wheel. And the shadow has a favorite weapon. Psychologists call it repetition compulsion. Look closely at the timeline of your life. You do not make random mistakes. You make the exact same mistake over and over again in a perfect, predictable loop. You build the business for 3 years. You finally get the big client. And then you simply do not answer the email. You watch it sit in your inbox like a ticking bomb, and you do nothing. You meet someone who finally treats you with respect. They are calm. They are consistent. And within 3 months, you push them away. You tell yourself there is no spark. There is no spark because your nervous system has confused anxiety with chemistry. You do not miss the person. You miss the chaos. Why? Because the human brain does not care about your happiness. The primitive brain only cares about survival. And to the brain, survival means predictability. If you grew up in chaos, chaos is predictable. If you are used to being betrayed, betrayal is predictable. If you are used to struggling, struggling is safe. But peace? Peace is a wild, terrifying, uncharted territory. When you enter a peaceful relationship or a successful phase of life, your nervous system panics. It says, "Wait, we don't know the rules here. Where is the threat? I need to find the threat." And if it cannot find the threat, it creates one. It picks a fight. It sends a text. It burns the bridge. Because fighting is familiar. Losing is familiar. And the ego would rather be comfortably miserable than uncomfortably happy. Seneca, the Stoic philosopher, wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." But self-sabotage is the darkest form of this truth. We are so afraid of the imaginary suffering of the future that we actively destroy the present just to get the suffering over with. We drop the glass deliberately, just so we don't have to live with the anxiety of wondering when it will fall. This is where everything changes. You have spent your entire life trying to fight this mechanism with willpower. You set an alarm, you write in a journal, you make a quiet promise in the dark. I will never do that again. And 3 days later, the gravity returns, the whisper starts, and you are back in the dirt. Willpower is a conscious tool, but your self-sabotage is an unconscious mechanism. Trying to fight the shadow with willpower is like trying to stop a hurricane with a wooden shield. It will shatter. You cannot defeat the arsonist by fighting him. You cannot lock him deeper in the basement. You defeat him by turning on the lights. Because the arsonist is not a demon. The arsonist is you. It is a wounded, terrified, primal part of you that is trying to protect you the only way it knows how, by keeping you in the cage where it knows you will survive. The cage is a prison, but it is a familiar prison, and you, right now, have a choice. You can continue to decorate the cell. You can continue to blame your boss, your ex, the economy, or your genetics. You can continue to call your own behavior fate. Or you can look at the iron bars, realize you are holding the key, and do the one thing that terrifies the ego more than anything else. You can accept the responsibility of being free. Freedom begins with integration. You must understand a terrifying, beautiful truth. The energy you use to destroy your life is the exact same energy you need to build it. Carl Jung said that in the shadow there is gold. The arsonist in the basement is not evil. He is just raw, unguided power. He is your capacity for aggression. He is your boundary. He is your ability to say no. And because you denied him a seat at the civilized table, he set the table on fire. Do not banish him. Invite him up. When you stop running from your own darkness, the game changes. The sabotage loses its power, because the shadow only holds power in the dark. The moment you name it, the moment you drag it into the light, it becomes a tool in your hand. Look back at the ruins you have created. Look at the ashes of the relationships, the jobs, the opportunities. Stop looking at them with shame. Look at them with the cold, calculating eye of a strategist. Did you ruin the opportunity? Good. The mask is off. You no longer have to pretend to be someone you are not. Did you push them away? Good. Now you see the exact location of your deepest wound. Did you break the discipline streak? Good. You just bought a masterclass in your own subconscious triggers. Did you burn it all down? Good. The ground is clear. The weak foundation has been removed. Now you can build something real. You are not starting from scratch. You are starting from experience. The Stoics understood this mechanism perfectly. They called it Amor, Fati, a love of fate. Not tolerance, not acceptance. Love. You take every mistake, every embarrassing failure, every moment of weakness where you sabotaged your own life, and you consume it. You throw it into the fire, and you use it as fuel to forge a stronger mind. So, how do you stop? How do you finally break the loop? You do it in the pause. Between the anxiety and the action, there is a space. It might only be a fraction of a second long, but in that tiny, microscopic space, you are a sovereign. The next time the peace feels too quiet, the next time the urge to send the destructive text, to start the fight, to drop the glass rises in your chest, stop. Do not argue with the feeling. Do not fight it. Do not try to suppress it. Just watch it. Say to yourself, I see you. I know exactly what you are trying to do. You are trying to keep me safe by keeping me small. But we are not in danger anymore. Breathe into that space. Let the anxiety burn hot in your veins. It will feel unbearable. It will feel like you are going to jump out of your own skin, but it will not kill you. The pain you feel in that moment is not destruction. It is the sensation of your old identity dying. Let it die. So tonight, when it is late, and the house is quiet, when the relationship is stable, when the work is done, when peace has finally arrived, and the whisper begins in the back of your mind, burn it down. This time, you do not move. You do not flinch. You listen to the whisper, and you let it pass like smoke in the wind. You walk down into the basement. You look the arsonist in the eye, and you gently, firmly, take the matches out of his hand. You do not need him to protect you anymore. You are the architect now. The foundation is solid. Sleep well. The war is over. You are safe inside the walls. This is Core Wisdom. If this video helped you find a moment of peace, subscribe to join us on the journey inward.